is Missy, and I'm one of the music therapists that works with the Taylor Family Foundation. I'm so excited to be with you today. We're going to do this thing called musical stories. And what that means is in each story, as you know, there are usually at least 2 characters or more. And when we assign different sounds to these characters, we play those sounds when we hear that character's name. For instance, for the classic story, The Tortoise and the Hare, anytime I personally am going to use these 2 instruments. This one is a tambourine. You can play it a couple different ways. And this one is called a buffalo drum. And it sounds like this. Now, for the tortoise, I'm going to use the buffalo drum because it sounds a little bit slower. You know what I mean? And as we all know, the tortoise is known for doing it slow, doing that race at its own pace. And then the hare, I'm going to use that sound because it sounds really high-strung like the hare would be. So we're going to give this a go, and I'll show you what I mean. Now grab 2 different, doesn't have to be instruments, it could be 2 different things that make 2 different noises. You can grab something from your kitchen, pots and pans, a glass, and using a wooden spoon or a metal spoon. If you have shakers, or if you happen to have a guitar at home, you can always just strum that guitar in different ways even, or use it to knock on it as a sound. You can knock on the wall as a sound. You can be as creative as you want. You can even use your voice. So you could do silly sounds like, or there are just so many possibilities. So you can be as silly as you want or be as serious as you want with the sounds that you make. It's up to you. So now I'm going to read the story of the tortoise and the hare, and anytime that I read tortoise, and anytime that I read the hare, okay, here we go. The tortoise and the hare. A hare was making fun of the tortoise one day for being so slow. "Do you ever get anywhere?" he asked with a mocking laugh. "Yes," replied the tortoise, "and I get there sooner than you think. I'll run you a race and prove it." The hare was much amused at the idea of running a race with the tortoise, but for the fun of it, he agreed. So the fox, who had consented to act as a judge, marked the distance and started the runners off. The hare was soon far out of sight, and to make the tortoise feel deeply how ridiculous it was for him to try a race with the hare, he lay down beside the course to take a nap until the tortoise would catch up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly but steadily, and after a time passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare slept on very peacefully, and when he did wake up, the tortoise was near the goal. The hare now ran his swiftest, but he could not overtake the tortoise in time. So the tortoise won the race. Isn't that cool? The whole moral of this story is slow and steady wins the race. So you don't have to be the fastest, you don't have to be the best, but you keep going, you do what you know to do, and you give it your best. Slow and steady wins the race. That was a great practice story. We're familiar with it. There's only 2 characters, and it's a short one. And I wonder, how was that for you? Were you able to keep up with all the sounds? I'm sure you were. I'm sure you did really great. So with that, we're going to do the next story. It's a little bit longer. It has a few more characters, and we're going to need a few more sounds. So I encourage you to take a minute, gather your sounds, or decide what other possible sounds you could have. In this, there are going to be 4 characters, okay? So come up with 4 different sounds. For myself, I'm going to use, and I'll show you, a shaker, a pot, my trusty tambourine, and of course, my buffalo drum. Now, this story is another one that you're familiar with. It's called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So, for Papa Bear, yep, you guessed it, I'm going to be using this deep drum. Because it's like a big Papa Bear, right? For the Mama Bear, I'm going to use this. For Baby Bear, I'm going to use this tiny little shaker because it makes the tiniest sound. And for Goldilocks, I'm going to use this. Okay? Sounds good. Are you ready to go? Get your instruments ready around you. And here we go. Meet Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there was a youngster named Goldilocks who lived at the edge of the forest. She was called Goldilocks because her beautiful locks glistened in the sun like gold. Goldilocks was curious by nature. She often looked for and found adventures in the forest. One bright morning, she set out for a stroll in the woods. She came upon a cozy cottage and peeked in the windows. When she didn't see anyone inside, she knocked on the door. When nobody came to the door, she turned the handle and went right in. You see, Goldilocks did not have the best manners in the forest. Goldilocks didn't realize that the cottage belonged to a family of bears. There was a teeny-sized baby bear, a medium-sized mama bear, and a huge-sized papa bear. Goldilocks also didn't realize that the bear family had a daily morning routine. After Papa Bear made a steaming pot of porridge, the family went blueberry picking. This way, the porridge had time to cool, and they had plump, sweet blueberries to plop into their porridge. The first thing Goldilocks noticed when she walked into the cottage was 3 steaming bowls of porridge sitting on the table. The rich, sweet-smelling porridge made her stomach gurgle with hunger. Goldilocks couldn't resist, so she took a heaping spoonful of the porridge from Papa Bear's huge bowl. "Yow!" she yelped, fanning her mouth. "This porridge is as hot as lava." Then Goldilocks tasted the porridge from Mama Bear's medium-sized bowl. "Blech!" she groaned, pushing the bowl away. "This porridge is as cold as gazpacho." Next, Goldilocks tasted the porridge from teeny baby bear's small bowl and with closed eyes sighed a happy, "This porridge isn't just good," she said aloud. "It's great. In fact, it's just right." And she quickly gobbled up every last bit of teeny baby bear's porridge. After eating the porridge, Goldilocks was curious about the rest of the cottage, so she wandered into the living room. She saw 3 chairs and decided to sit for a bit, for she was feeling quite full. First, she sat in Papa Bear's huge chair, but jumped right up with a scowl on her face. Scowl like this. "Humph," she huffed. "This chair is as big as a refrigerator." Then, Goldilocks sat in Mama Bear's medium-sized chair and again jumped up in an instant. "This chair is still too big," she whined. Next, Goldilocks sat in teeny baby bear's small chair and began to bounce with glee. "This chair isn't just a little comfortable." She beamed. "It's really comfortable. In fact, it's just crack." Right. Oh well, she yawned. She didn't have the energy to fix the broken chair. A sleepy Goldilocks wearily climbed the stairs searching for a bed. She plopped into the first bed she saw. Yes, you guessed it, in Papa Bear's huge bed. No, she complained. "This bed is as hard as granite." When she plopped into Mama Bear's medium-sized bed, she screamed, "Help, I'm sinking!" After a struggle, she finally climbed out from the middle of the mattress. "This bed is as soft as a giant girl eating cotton ball. She said, frowning at the messy pile of blankets and pillows. When Goldilocks plopped into teeny baby bear's small bed, she smiled, closed her eyes, and whispered, this bed isn't just a little comfy and cozy. It's really comfy and cozy. In fact, it's just... While Goldilocks slept, the owners of the house returned from their blueberry picking. Papa Bear carried a huge basket brimming with blueberries. Mama Bear carried a medium-sized basket brimming with blueberries. And teeny baby bear carried a small basket brimming with blueberries. The three bears were not prepared for what they were about to see when they opened their cottage door. Someone's been eating my porridge, growled Papa Bear in a huge bear growl. Someone's been eating my porridge, growled Mama Bear in a medium-sized growl. And someone's been eating my porridge, growled teeny baby bear with a teeny bear growl. And it's all gone. Next, the hungry bears walked into the living room and saw their chairs. Someone's been sitting in my chair, growled Papa Bear in a huge bear growl. Well, someone's been sitting in my chair, growled Mama in a medium bear growl. Someone's been sitting in my chair, growled teeny baby bear in a teeny bear growl. And it's broken in hundreds of pieces. Then the hungry, angry bears marched up noisily up the stairs. Someone's been sleeping in my bed, said Papa Bear with a huge growl. Well, someone's been sleeping in my bed, growled Mama Bear in a medium growl. And someone's been sleeping in my bed, growled teeny baby bear in a teeny bear growl. And she's still there. Shh, I'm trying to sleep, whined Goldilocks. When she saw three hungry, angry bears staring at her, she leapt out of bed. Help, she screamed, running down the stairs, past the chairs, past the bowls of porridge, and out the door. Goldilocks never again went to the home of the three bears, but she did often daydream about that delicious bowl of porridge, that perfect wooden chair, and that comfy, cozy bed. They really were just right. How was that? Did you get all of the sounds? Good job. I'm so happy for you and proud of you and proud of us. So this next story that we're going to do has a few more characters, a few more sounds, and we'll get started in just a second. All right, for our next story, we need 7 different sounds for our 7 different characters, or 7 different types of characters. Let me explain. There's Farmer Fred. This is the sound I'm using for Farmer Fred. And what that is, I'll show you. It's just a pan and a spoon. There's the bully Bill, who's a bull. There are chickens that are named Roy Rooster and Henrietta Hen. And for both of them, or for any mention of chickens, I'm going to use this egg. There are ducks, like Dorothy Duck. That's what I'll be using. There are pigs like Pork Chop and Patty Piglet. That's what I'll be using. There are sheep like Roger Ram. And then there's Brian the Bull, who will also use this sound for since he's a bull. Okay, so go ahead and get your 7 different types of sounds or decide what they are. You can write the different characters' names on a piece of paper and write down which sounds that you'll use just to remind yourself. And I'll tell you again one more time. It's Farmer Fred, bulls, chickens, ducks, pigs, sheep, and actually there's 6. What do you know? So that's what we'll be doing. And you can use, again, any types of sounds. You can use pots and pans from the kitchen. You can use your mouth sounds going beep, beep. You can use your voice in other ways like I just did. You can tap on the floor, click your fingers, whistle. There are all kinds of choices or ways that you can make different types of sounds for these different characters. With that, we'll get started. All right. Farmer Fred had just bought a new bull. he named him Bill. Bill was a strong and handsome bull with great horns. He was very big for his age. Farmer Fred got Bill the bull loaded into the trailer and headed back home to his farm. When they arrived, Farmer Fred said, "Bill, welcome to your new home." Bill just snorted and tossed his head back to show off his impressive horns. This was all new to Bill, as he was raised in a very small stall and his new home was very different. He had a lot to explore. Bill stood on the hill and watched all the barnyard animals. He thought to himself, "I am the biggest animal on Farmer Fred's farm. No other animal has such great big horns." Bill chuckled at the chickens as he slowly walked up to them. They were so small and they didn't even have any horns. As Bill approached, the chickens clucked. The lone duck ducked as Bill almost stepped on her. Bill lowered his head and quickly shook it from side to side right in front of the chickens. "I'm Bill the bull, and I'm bigger than you chubby chickens," he said in a deep voice, "and I am boss of the barnyard." Bill the bull frightened the chickens. They rapidly ran, flipped, flopped, and flew to the safety of their cozy coop. This made Bill the bull laugh loudly. He was having fun. Bill saw some plump pigs moving in the mud and decided to play a prank. As he approached, he said loudly, "I heard Farmer Fred say that he needed some bacon for breakfast and ham for dinner." He then laughed loudly and tossed his head around, showing off his great horns. This frightened many of the pigs, and they proceeded to their pen for protection. The biggest pig, named Pork Chop, walked up to Bill and said, "You are a very mean bull, Bill." Bill snorted in reply, "Well, you have a big flat nose, a tornado tail, and pink ears. Also, you are dirty and smelly." Then Bill lowered his head, snorted a great snort, and shook his horns at Pork Chop. Pork Chop was a wise old pig and knew what Bill was doing. He wouldn't be bullied by any bull, even Bill. Now Bill, the bullying bull, was expecting Pork Chop to mush through the mud and proceed to the pen for protection. But Pork Chop oops, I did the wrong sound. Did you notice that? Pork Chop, the pig, just stood there looking at him. Then Pork Chop said in a soft voice, "You are a very mean bull, Bill," and walked away. Then Bill saw some sheep in the meadow. Bill began to walk across the big barnyard towards them. When he got there, he was met by the Roger Ram. Roger Ram, the leader of the flock. "I'm Roger Ram, rejoicing at meeting my newest neighbor on Farmer Fred's farm," he said in a very polite manner. Bill ran at Roger Ram, snorting and shaking his big horns, and said, "I am Bill the bull. I am boss of the barnyard." In a split second, Roger Ram rammed Bill, the bullying bull, between his horns. Bill, the bullying bull, looked at Roger Ram and said, "All that white curly hair might give you lots of flair, but you ram like a ewe." Then Bill backed up, started to paw at the ground with his hefty hooves, snorted 7 snorts, shook his horns, lowered his now lumpy head, and Roger Ram and the others retreated from the meadow. Bill, the bullying bull, was proud of what he had done. All the barnyard animals were afraid of Bill. He was either threatening them with his size and big horns or making fun of the way they looked. It was not a pleasant day on Farmer Fred's farm. "I'm going to call him Bully Bill," said Henrietta Hen. "That's not nice," responded Roy Rooster. "It's being a bully yourself." "Well, we will work on something to stop his bullying." Roger Ram said, "I don't know what we can do. I rammed him and he called me a ewe." Dorothy Duck said, "He almost stepped on me with those heavy hooves. No one is safe." With tears in her eyes, Patty Piglet said, "I heard I was going to be eaten by Farmer Fred. I'm scared." Pork Chop said in a soft and soothing tone, "Don't worry, my friends. By the evening feed by Farmer Fred, Bill, the bullying bull, will become our buddy." Bill was having so much fun. He certainly was the boss of the barnyard that day. He looked around and saw a big barn with open doors, and he just had to let whoever lived there know that he was the boss of the barnyard. It was a bright sunny day, but Bill walked into the dark barn and he couldn't see anything. It frightened him a little. He turned the corner around the door and boom! He was stopped in mid-stride. Bill realized that he had just walked into something really big. So big, it didn't move when he walked into it. As Bill's eyes adjusted to the darkness in the barn, he started to see what had stopped him. He was looking at the chest of some big animal. Bill was scared. As he looked up, he could see the biggest bull with the biggest horns staring down at him. A voice like thunder filled the barn. "I finally get to meet Bill, the boss of the barnyard." Now, Bill didn't know what to do or what to say. All he could do was look up at this giant and wonder what would happen next. There was silence in the barn for several minutes as Bill just looked up in amazement. Finally, the big bull said something. "I am Brian Bull and have lived on Farmer Fred's farm for many, many years. In all those years, never have the other animals asked me for help. But today, they came to me with the story of a big bull that was bullying them, and they asked me to put an end to it. I agreed." Bill was never ever so frightened. Brian the bull could toss him across the barnyard with little effort and one push from his head. Brian slowly lowered his head. Bill looked down and began to shake. Brian the bull got closer and whispered into Bill the bull's ear. "What do you think I should do, Bill? I promised the other animals I would put a stop to your bullying." "Please believe me, Brian, you have," Bill said in a truly honest voice. "I've never been so frightened in my life, and I know how the other animals must have felt." Bill began to sob a little. "I now know how it feels to be bullied, and you didn't even really bully me. I have learned from my lesson, and I will go out and apologize to the animals and ask them to forgive me." "You don't have to," Brian said. "You already have." As Bill turned around, he saw all the other animals standing in the doorway. "Here, pig, pig, pig. Come on, chick, chick." The animals heard Farmer Fred calling them for the evening feed. Pork Chop walked over to Bill and said, "Come on, buddy, let's eat." That's the end of the story. That one was harder to keep up with even for myself, and I knew the story. How was it for you? I would love to know. So this is something that you can do with any stories that you have at home. You can have your parents, or you could read to each other if you have siblings or friends, and assign different sounds to different characters. You can pick which sounds would even sound like those characters. For instance, when I chose this for Papa Bear, the slow turtle, and I picked it also for the big bulls. Or when I chose this for the teeny baby bear, as well as the chickens. And I chose this for the chickens because it's an egg, so. It can be so many different things and look so many different ways, and I know that you'll have a lot of fun with it. It can be really challenging, huh? Another step that you could take is to write a story of your own and then read it to other people and have them assign the sounds to the characters that you came up with. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. I really encourage you to explore that more and take advantage of storytelling, story time, and doing it with musical instruments, or just anything that you created sound with, because that's really fun. So thank you so much for being with me today. I will see you around, and I look forward to any time that we might meet in the future. Have a great rest of your camp experience.